Hello, accountability buddies. I'm Les, and this is another episode of Less is More Healthy. Coming to you from the car on my way to work, which just kind of feels like standard fare. But my last two episodes before this one, I shot on my bike, or not on my bike, but while I was out on a ride. So not totally standard. Um, but I have kind of a topic that I want to talk about, and it's been coming up in a couple of conversations that I've been having with people at work and outside of work, and that's a sense of belonging and a sense of like capability. Um, at work we talk about how do we give kids a sense of belonging in a group, how do we build group cohesion, and with kids the answer is pretty easy. Like, we play get to know you games and warm up games, icebreaker games, whatever you want to call them. And also we make sure that every kid in a group is included. And that becomes a lot more difficult when you're working with adults or when you're an adult trying to belong in a group. And this comes up because next Monday, I'm hoping to engage in a group ride. So, and this is not a group ride I've set up. This is a group ride set up by a local bike shop. And it's like a slow roll, kind of chill pace. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm kind of like worried about the weather. It might rain that day. But anyway, I'm stoked at the idea of it. I'm also hoping to do like a longer ride that weekend, but that's all beside the point. This sort of conversation has brought up, especially since I am reinvigorating my art and craft channel, which, if you're new here, that's a thing. That's actually where I started on YouTube. My channel was monetized. It was demonetized. I've been trying to remonetize it. It's been slow going. Also, every time I get distracted by this channel, my output on that other channel slides. But the YouTube algorithm requires that you separate out everything into its very own channel, which is something that I have always sort of railed against. Like, my Comfortable Shoes Studio blog has always been about wherever it takes me and not about like little separate things. So anyway, I'm working on like reinvigorating that channel. One of the things that has brought up is like, do I have the right stuff? Do I have the right gear? And this relates to the art making channel, but it also relates to um this channel, in that as I am getting ready to do this group ride with people who aren't riding Walmart bikes, and this is going to be the true test of how I I integrate into that group, is how are they going to respond to my Walmart bike? Um, I could, and I've been tempted to not ride the G1 on this group ride. I've been tempted to instead get the Kona out because I know it'll fit in better with the vibe of the group. And part of me really wants to just bring out the Kona, but part of me really, really wants to do a vibe check on this group of people by riding the G1 and like either keeping up with them or being totally slow. But also just seeing how everyone in the group responds to the G1. Um, like, are they open to having someone on a Walmart bike ride with them? Is that going to be a problem? And like, I don't know. Part of me is like, yeah, is it fair to do a vibe check like that? Should I just get the Kona out? What am I doing here? Part of me just really wants to go on the ride, and I've been digging the G1. Um, but it does bring up the question of, do I have the right gear? Like, in terms of like shooting a video channel like this, like, do I have the right action camera? Do I have the right microphones? Do I know how to use the equipment? Am I using the right app to process my videos? Have I learned how to use the app properly? Um, and part of this is also imposter syndrome. I also read a Substack recently about imposter syndrome and how it's not something to fix or get over. Um, and I have some thoughts on that. But anyway, like the other thing that I've been thinking about in connection with this is imagine if we all like was it the Olympic? Yeah, so there's the Olympian from America who like dominated the women's cycling race, and she'd only been cycling for like 6 years. But like her story is that she was a venture capitalist and she worked as a venture capitalist for like a few years, banked up some money, fell in love with cycling, and then quit her venture capitalist job and focused solely on being a top tier cyclist. Which begs the question, if we all had the like active support of the people in our lives to do something like that and the money to do it, how different would our lives be? Like what would my life be like if I had unlimited funding to do the things that I love or engage in all of my interests? I mean, I have a lot of interests, so that's not really a fair question, right? But like what if I took like my interest in cycling and I was able to focus on just riding my bike currently, like as I am now. Like, all right, so like I really want to ride cross country. I really want to cycle Route 66 because I think that would be interesting. Um, I really want to do the East Coast Greenway. I want to do like the what is it, the Oregon or Washington to Southern California route. Like I want to ride all these things. But the reality of it is like I don't have a lot of money, and like how do you fund something like that if you've got to work a full-time job and have health insurance because you're old and you have a chronic illness? I feel like these are the kinds of things that kind of go through my head on occasion as I'm like thinking about all of this stuff. Like what would it be like to just have someone like completely support the channel or like give me all the money that I need to either support this channel or the other channel or both channels, so I never have to question, do I have the right equipment again? Like what would that be like to have like that unlimited unwavering support, both mentally and monetarily? um but yeah, so the other side of this is also like, do I have the right stuff mentally and physically to do this kind of thing? Like that is a question that comes up for me on occasion, not as often as like some of the other questions about like the things, but like, imposter syndrome for me is real. It comes up pretty often. um I think I've talked about it a couple of times on this channel, and it's an awkward thing to talk about because, here on this channel, like there are times when like I talk about things and I know about them, and then I'm questioning, do I know enough about these things to talk about them? And then there's always some reply guy in the comments questioning my understanding or knowledge or whatever. Um and I've just learned like I block reply guys. And if you don't know what I mean by a reply guy, it's a dude that shows up. It can be a woman, but more often than not, in my experience, it's been a dude who replies in a negative fashion to um anyone's stuff on YouTube. Used to happen a lot on Twitter. I've noticed some of it happening on threads, and now I'm just like, I've taken to just blocking reply guys. When they pop up on someone else's feed, I block them. YouTube doesn't give me the capability of blocking reply guys. As easily as other platforms, which I think is a real shame because I think if there were more people able to block reply guys, it would definitely make YouTube a much more pleasant platform because they would just be shouting and commenting into the void and no one would ever hear their trash. Don't feed the trolls, and also block the trolls, mute the trolls so that you never have to see their garbage again, but also no one sees them on your channel again. Anyway, that was a little bit of a rant there. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I'm like thinking about, like the right stuff. Do I have it mentally, physically, gear wise, and all of that? Like, and I guess maybe that some of that is like the situation of like I'm about to engage in a group that I've never engaged with before, and that makes things interesting, but also a little anxiety provoking and stressful. So, anyhow, that's where I'm at. That's what I'm thinking about. And I hope you have a good day. I hope you are able to get out on your bike or on your trainer, enjoy some physical activity today, and I'll see you next time. Thanks and bye.